Hey everyone, it's Kristen, and I just wanted to talk really quickly about developing a deck concept for anyone who is interested in creating their own Oracle deck. I get a lot of questions and messages from people who say, I want to create an Oracle deck. I've been procrastinating on this. I feel stuck. And I just wanted to talk about that because I think that one of the reasons why people get stuck very early in the process is because they don't have a clear deck concept. So I wanted to tell you the difference between an idea and a deck concept, because I think that a lot of you are getting those two things confused. And when you get really clear about your deck concept, it will make it easier for you to create your deck. So if you come to me and you say, Kristen, I have this great concept for an Oracle deck that features vintage portraits, I'm going to say that right now is just an idea. So an Oracle deck that features vintage portraits is not yet a deck concept. A deck concept has more to it. It's fuller. It has more meat to it. And when you get the clarity of putting more stuff on it, then you'll have a direction to go in, and you won't get as stuck with your process. So let me give you an example. Because I've actually created 5 decks based on that same idea, an Oracle deck that features vintage portraits. The first one that I'll show you is called the Ancestor deck. And this is a deck that I created, and it is available. This deck is created with vintage portraits and cultural proverbs. And the concept is that you use those proverbs for guidance. Proverbs are a really great way to get kind of symbolic guidance, because every proverb is told, in one way, but you really interpret it in a different way. Fall 7 times, stand up 8. Depending on your situation, you might interpret that based on being stronger. You've been knocked down a couple times. It's time to get back up and dust yourself off and try it again. And so this deck concept, I used just a really simple black and white, and the message, the card message at the bottom. This deck gives very straightforward, direct guidance. Somebody has said it's kind of like getting guidance from your grandma. Okay, so that is the deck concept with this. Again, it's the same idea, but just a specific deck concept. I also have another deck I created that uses vintage portraits. It's not really an Oracle deck, although a lot of people wanted me to create this as an Oracle deck, and it is my Pets and Suits deck. And so this one is Pets and Suits cabinet cards. I think of these kind of like the way that I would think of a coffee table book. And you'll see that what I did was I just replaced the head with a pet, either a cat or a dog. And so for me, the concept is fun. It's very cheeky. You can use it as a deck of cards. Some people have used them as like an oracle, looking at the card and saying what they see, like maybe what this guy is thinking, or what this cat might be saying. On the backs, I put a little bit of vintage ephemera that to me matched the personality on the card. That might be something that they would have in their scrapbook. Okay, but again, it's a very different concept from the Ancestor deck. I have another deck that has not been published yet. It's called the Legacy Kipper. And a Kipper deck is a fortune-telling oracle deck. It has its own system and it is very much people-based. So much of the Kipper deck is showing you people, you know, as opposed to scenes or symbols like a Lenormand deck. And the concept of this one was create a Kipper deck that featured African Americans. And so, again, you can see these are still vintage portraits in an oracle deck, but they are matching up with the Kipper system. And again, just presenting a different concept for a deck. I have another deck that is just released. It's called Love Notes Oracle. This is the back of it. And in this time, I used the vintage portraits with kind of modern, cheeky graphics to create a kind of a juxtaposition. And this deck for me is one that I consider a kind of silly, saucy deck. It is a deck that is specifically for love and relationships, answering questions like, how does he or she view me? Where is our relationship headed? What's on my romantic horizon? And so you can see that I've blended these with a different color scheme, the vintage portraits. Each card has a different keyword, and this deck can be used really for prediction guidance and self-discovery. And then I have one more deck that I've created. It hasn't been released yet. It's called Oracle of the Ancients. And again, it is an oracle deck that features vintage portraits. Okay. And this is using a lot of different ethnicities. You'll also notice that there is what I try to do is kind of create like an intergalactic theme with it. So you'll see a lot of planetary symbols in the cards. So it gives it kind of an ancient and otherworldly appearance. The first 22 cards in this deck are based on tarot. I would say they're inspired by tarot because all of the words are a little bit different. This is the card for the moon. You can see it says Moon Mother. And so this deck for me is one that could be used kind of as a substitute for a tarot deck. It is one that for me it will give more kind of powerful readings, spiritual readings. It's not a light deck at all. It's intended for really deep, soulful readings. Okay, so I just wanted to show you those 5 decks to show you that you can have the same idea. You can have 100 people with the same idea, but they can all create different concepts for their deck. So the concept goes beyond the idea. It's richer than the idea. It has more detail to it. So I have 8 questions to ask yourself to help you develop your own deck concept. And I have those in a blog post, so you can actually check out the blog post below. But let me go through those 8 questions for you really quickly. The first question is, what type of deck are you making? So are you making a tarot deck, a Lenormand deck, a Kipper deck, an oracle deck? Remember, tarot, Lenormand, Kipper, they all have an inherent system to them. If you're making an oracle deck, you can really create your own system. But always remember that the key is you're creating an oracle deck, which means it is a divination tool. I see a lot of people just thinking, I'm just going to come up with some random artwork and it's going to be a deck. That is an artist trading card. That's not an oracle deck. An oracle deck is designed as a divination tool. So keep that foremost in your mind. 2, what is the theme of your deck? Is it nature, witches, chakras, goddesses? So think about, what do you want the theme of the deck to be? There's almost always some type of theme that goes with your idea. The third question is, what need does your deck fill? And even if you're creating just a personal deck, it really should fill some sort of need. All of my decks that I create begin with a need. And usually the need is a question, like I'm trying to answer a specific type of question. I want to answer when questions, or I want to have a really fun, lighthearted guidance deck. Or maybe I'm looking for a deck that will help me connect with spirit guides or people who've crossed over. So what need does your deck fill? The fourth question is, what type of message? And this is really specific to oracle decks, because with an oracle deck, you have a lot of freedom in terms of your message. You can be delivering predictive messages, guidance messages, or self-discovery messages. So it's up to you to decide how will that deck be used. What types of messages will you be conveying with the deck? The fifth question is, who will your deck appeal to? And again, even if you're creating a personal deck, think about this question in terms of who in terms of different aspects of yourself does your deck appeal to? Does it appeal to your inner child? Does it appeal to your shadow? So think about yourself, and even in terms of breaking down different aspects of yourself in terms of that deck, and does it appeal to the deep philosophical part of you, or does it appeal to the really silly, fun part of you? The sixth question is, how will users read it as an oracle? If you are creating this deck for someone else, or you want to make it available to the public, you do need to think about how will other people use it. It could be something that you can read very easily, but is it going to translate to other people? And you want to think about, is there, for example, a card message on it? So I intend for people to actually read this proverb, and they're getting their meaning and message from the proverb, not necessarily from the picture. Is there a guidebook that you need to support the deck? Are people reading intuitively, analytically, or symbolically? Okay, that means, are they going to be reading the card, the picture? One of the reasons why I never turned this into an oracle deck is because I couldn't figure out a way for users to read this deck as an oracle. I could have created a keyword, or come up with personalities for all of them. But I really didn't feel like doing that, because I think everyone looks at these cards and just sees whatever they want to see. And that's how I wanted to leave it. So think about that. That's a really important question, because remember, you're not creating an artist trading card, you're creating an oracle deck, and it is a divination tool. So people are going to need to use it and get insights from it. How will they do that? The seventh question is, what kind of questions will your deck answer? So for example, with the Love Notes deck, this is a deck that is answering love and relationship questions. And you can be really specific about the questions too. Make even a list of specific questions that your deck will answer. Does it answer questions about money or career? Does it answer questions like timing questions? Can your deck give detailed physical descriptions? Can you use it for locations or past life readings? And the eighth question, this is the final question, what type of artwork are you considering? I purposely put artwork last because I see so often people starting with the artwork, and that's not the place to start to create an oracle deck. I always say, pretty pictures just go on my walls. I don't need an oracle deck that's pretty. I need an oracle deck that can give me insights. I need an oracle deck that's powerful. And so the concept really needs to be the first step. The artwork should just support the deck concept. You may find artwork that you really love that you want to base the concept on, and that's fine. But just remember that the artwork is a supporting tool. The artwork should help the reader understand the card message. And so what type of artwork are you considering? Drawings, photos, you can do digital work. I do all of my decks on my iPad. So I don't know how to use Photoshop. I don't know how to use Illustrator. There are lots of options. And I really hate when people say that they can't do something because they can't draw or they can't do whatever. There are too many options in this day and age for you to create your own Oracle deck. So I really hate to hear any excuses. But also consider in terms of your artwork, the style of it or the tone of it. Is it playful artwork? Is it serious artwork? So those are the 8 questions that may help you to develop your deck concept. And once you have a really specific deck concept, you will feel in the flow again with creating your Oracle deck. It will be a lot easier for you to be motivated to take whatever the next step is. And good luck to you.